I'm going to suggest to you that you protect your interests in it as far as what you're entitled to, a quarter of it.
So we bought these 4 lots when we moved here to Flagstaff at Coyote Pass with the intention of dividing them up into 5 pieces of property and eventually building on them. We're now at the point in the next couple of months that we need to pay it off. I don't
For decades, the Brown family peddled a dream. Under the scorching Arizona sun, they posed together, Kody, Robyn, Christine, Janelle, and Meri, all smiles for the cameras as they talked about togetherness, religion, and love. Coyote Pass was meant to be the center of it all, the land that showed plural marriage could work. But beneath the drone footage and sun-kissed sunsets, something else was occurring. Whispers of funds, rumors of clandestine transfers. And somewhere in the midst of all of it, one woman's name repeatedly emerged, Robyn Brown, the youngest wife, the favorite, the peaceful one. But as documents started emerging, her peace appeared to be control. It began modestly, a lone court filing, a motion hidden in legalese that barely anyone saw. But someone did. And one of those people leaked it. The motion referred to unauthorized financial adjustments related to Coyote Pass. No figures, no names. And when the judge demanded disclosure, the family business started to tremble. Kody dismissed it publicly. Another exaggeration by the media, he claimed. But in private, he knew the paper trail was authentic. Because the truth wasn't concealed in the land, it was concealed in the bank. As the date for the hearing drew near, the tone within the Brown family became brittle. Cameras continued to roll, but smiles no longer reached their eyes. Christine's voice became short and snappy. Janelle began keeping her own journal. And even Meri, quiet for years, began to pose questions she'd never had the courage to ask before. And Robyn, she vanished. No calls, no texts, not even on shooting days. Until the afternoon, days from the hearing, her SUV arrived at Coyote Pass. She emerged in sunglasses, clutching a file folder close to her chest. Pages she claimed were proof. But what was in that folder would soon shatter the fantasy of family forever. The day the Browns appeared in court, the air in Flagstaff was thick and parched. Reporters and fans jammed the courthouse steps, waving signs that said things like, "Justice for Christine," and "Where is the Coyote Pass money?" It was quiet inside, the type of quiet before something blows. Kody sat at the defense table, attempting to appear confident, but the tension in his jaw betrayed him. Robyn sat next to him, shaking hands, clutching her handbag. Christine and Janelle across from them shared a small, weary glance. They weren't here for revenge. They were here for truth. When the judge walked in, everyone stood. He appeared stern, well aware that this was not another case. This was the collapse of one of reality television's best-known families. The judge started out, "This hearing regards ownership of property and management of funds for the Coyote Pass development." Initially, the paperwork was mundane: land deeds, account balances, transfer documents. Then the judge pulled one specific file off the pile. His face sets in a sharper line. "There seems to be another account," he replied slowly. "Not included in the first disclosures, titled Bar Holdings LLC, Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Do you know anything about this?" The whole courtroom came to a standstill. Kody stuttered. Robyn went white. Christine leaned forward, her antennae twitching for something big. "Your Honor," Kody stuttered, "we've had a lot of business accounts through the years. That is likely just an old one for tax purposes." There was a stunned silence. The judge interrupted him. "This account has more than $800,000 in liquid funds." Gasps erupted in the courtroom. Janelle's attorney began taking notes. Christine shut her eyes, not in shock, but in confirmation. She had suspected that all along. Robyn spoke at last, her voice trembling. "That account isn't mine alone, it is for family security." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Then why is it in your maiden name?" The room fell utterly silent. Robyn stood, still. Kody's face was puzzled. Christine's eyes narrowed. Meri focused on her hands. "It began before we moved," Robyn said quietly. "Before Coyote Pass." The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Brown, these monies were for Coyote Pass mortgage payments, but they were not drawn from your shared family account. Care to tell me what is going on?" Robyn glanced at Kody, desperate. He finally spoke. "We didn't want to worry the family. Money was tight. It was temporary." "Temporary?" the judge repeated. "For 4 years?" The courtroom murmured again. Christine rose, her voice firm but shaking. We were promised everything was shared. Every dollar, every choice. But now we learn there has been a hidden account all along. We sold our houses, our savings, our tranquility, for a deception. Robyn was sobbing now, softly repeating, "It wasn't supposed to be like this." But that didn't matter anymore. The truth was out. When the gavel fell for recess, journalists ran for the doors. Headlines hit the internet in minutes. Judge reveals Robyn's secret deal, $800 K account found in Sister Wives scandal. Christine and Janelle slipped past the cameras silently. Robyn stood behind Kody, and for the first time, Kody Brown, the man who used to have everything in his hands, looked helpless. But what nobody knew yet was that the $800 K account wasn't the only one. There was more, another company, another secret. And the next hearing would expose it all. 2 days following the hearing, the Browns' life was in a whirlwind. The media had gone wild with the $800 K account headlines. Fans were analyzing every clip of courtroom video, every word Kody or Robyn ever spoken on Sister Wives. But before the public even had time to absorb the shock, something even larger was ready to strike, and it wouldn't be coming from a journalist. It would be coming from within. Later that evening, an unidentified file was dropped off at the courthouse clerk's office. No return address, no signature. Just a white manila envelope labeled Evidence Fe Coyote Pass. When the clerk opened it, she was stunned. There were copies of bank statements, signed agreements, and an email chain 3 years old. All the pages had the same heading, RB Holdings, LLC. But what was most important were the transfers. They weren't deposits, they were withdrawals. Dozens of them, all of them corresponding to the exact dates of payments made towards Robyn and Kody's Flagstaff mansion. The papers didn't merely suggest impropriety, they established it. The file had made it to the judge's desk by morning. Within a few hours, the lawyers were called, and by lunchtime, the Browns were again ordered into court for an emergency hearing. Inside the courthouse, Christine and Janelle sat in silence, aware that something was going to blow. Kody paced angrily beside his chair. Robyn cowered, murmuring, "I didn't do anything wrong." The judge walked in, clutching the envelope. "He wasted no time, Judge. New evidence has been submitted anonymously. It appears to contain financial records relevant to this case. I've verified their authenticity. Mr. and Mrs. Brown, please take a look." He passed the papers across the table. Kody flipped through them, his expression changing from confusion to disbelief. Robyn's hands shook as she turned the pages. "Judge, Mrs. Brown, do these transfers look familiar to you?" Robyn didn't answer. "Judge, they're from RB Holdings, your account, and they correspond exactly with the payments for your current home in Flagstaff." Christine leaned forward slightly, her voice quiet but firm. "That's where the money went." Robyn finally looked up, eyes glistening. "It was supposed to be temporary. Kody told me we'd pay it back once the land was ready." Kody slammed a hand on the table. "Don't spin this. We needed stability. We couldn't all live in RVs waiting for a dream that was not advancing." The judge scowled. "So you spent family money to be used for shared property on a private house." Kody paused. "It is complicated." "Judge, no, Mr. Brown. It is very simple." The gavel crashed once. Biting, Christine's eyes welled up. Not with tears of sorrow, but of release. Everything she'd suspected, everything Janelle had warned about, was now on paper. Evidence that they hadn't been crazy. Evidence that Kody and Robyn had laundered money. Janelle breathed. "He used our future to build theirs." Even Meri, quietly sitting in the back, appeared shattered. Outside, the reporters waited again. When news broke that new evidence connected Kody and Robyn's mansion to the Coyote Pass account, it was pandemonium. Christine said nothing to the media this time. She simply marched past them with her head held high. But Robyn, pale and shaken, was mobbed by cameras. A reporter yelled, "Robyn, did you spend the family's money on your house?" She had no answer, She merely gazed down, tears welling in her eyes, and murmured to herself, "I thought it would all work out." Back in the courtroom, the judge had made it clear that there was a full audit in progress. Every withdrawal, every deposit, every line item. But the most chilling line came at the end. Judge Tontil further notice. "Mrs. Brown, you and your husband are prohibited from making any further withdrawals on the RB Holdings account." And with that, the courtroom cleared out again. But something remained. Because just when the Browns believed the harm couldn't get any worse, a new name surfaced in the documents. One they did not know, a signature. Handwriting different. Someone else had been assisting Robyn, and when police discovered who that was, it would make everything different. The fallout in court already wasn't good enough, but what ensued made it explosive. As forensic accountants worked their way through Robyn's finances, they found something odd. A few of the $800 K account transactions weren't electronically signed by Robyn or Kody. Rather, there was a third signature scribbled in alternate handwriting, with initials that no one who knew the Brown family recognized. The initials were Jacobs. At first glance, it was irrelevant, a ghost alias, a potential typing mistake. But when the investigators followed it back through electronic communication, a terrifying revelation was found. Jacobs was not a pseudonym. It was an actual human being. And not only that, she was a former friend of Robyn's from prior to her becoming a part of the Sister Wives family. The court called for her to testify. When she came in, the atmosphere in the room shifted in an instant. A poised woman in her early 40s, wearing a conservative suit, emerged. She did not appear to be anyone from the Brown's sphere of existence. She appeared to be someone who worked with money, with assurance. The judge nodded. "Judge, say your name for the record." Witness: Sarah Jacobs. Judge: Miss Jacobs. "How do you know Mrs. Brown?" She hesitated, then stated firmly, "I was her money person. I assisted her in establishing RB Holdings." You could have heard a pin drop. Christine looked over at Janelle. Kody's body tensed. Robyn's head fell into her hands. "Judge, you are telling me you formed the LLC at Mrs. Brown's request?" Sarah Jacobs: "Yes. She explained to me it was for future business growth, said she wanted to keep family assets safe from future creditors. Was adamant that Kody's other wives not be included as members." Gasps seemed to ripple through the courtroom. "Judge, why, Sarah?" She told her they would not comprehend. Christine uttered a small, resentful laugh. "We didn't comprehend because you kept it secret." The judge raised his hand for silence. "Judge, Miss Jacobs, did you know that money in this account was being spent on a private residence?" Sarah shook her head slowly. "Yes. I warned her against it, but Robyn said it was a temporary arrangement. She said the others would have houses on Coyote Pass shortly after." The judge sat forward. "Did she ever indicate where the money originally came from?" Sarah paused. "She said it was show money, joint family income, funneled through another account for ease. And that was that." The whole foundation of Kody and Robyn's defense shattered. Kody glared at Robyn, his tone low but acid. "You said this was for the family." Robyn spoke in a hushed tone, almost inaudible. "It was initially." "Judge, Mr. Brown, you signed these transfers, you can't plead ignorance." Kody looked cornered. "I left her the money. She said she knew what she was doing." Christine grumbled under her breath. "That is the issue, you always did." Outside, the news had already made headlines in every major publication. Robyn's secret business partner takes the stand. $800 K kept in the dark from Sister Wives. Viewers pulled up tape of Robyn affirming on camera, "We share everything equally." Now those words had been revealed as empty, creepy even. But in the courtroom, the drama wasn't finished. Sarah Jacobs had one final document. When the judge requested if there was something else to present, she nodded and handed him an email printed on simple white paper. He read it quietly for a second, then slowly took a breath, his voice growing dark. Judge. This email is a message between Mrs. Brown and a financial advisor, dated 2020. It states quite clearly, "Once the funds are secure, Kody and I will make sure ownership stays within our home only." Kody's face went white. Robyn covered her face with her hands. Christine whispered. "There it is." The judge glanced up. "Mrs. Brown, this statement implies intentional hiding. That is fraud." Robyn's voice cracked. "It wasn't that way. I was trying to save my family. I didn't want to lose everything." The judge said nothing. He merely wrote something down. The gavel came down once, ringing like thunder. "Judge, court will reconvene tomorrow for penalty recommendations." As everyone rose, the mood was chilly. Kody did not glance at Robyn. Christine and Janelle exited in silence. Meri trailed behind her, her face blank. Outside, where the press had gathered, one question kept on being repeated. Will Kody and Robyn go to criminal charges? Christine did not respond. She merely stared into the cameras and murmured softly, "All secrets come out eventually." The courtroom had silenced, but in secret, the story was only just beginning to untangle fully. Following Sarah Jacobs' testimony, authorities began to probe more deeply into Kody and Robyn's financial dealings. Not only the $800K account, but the very roots of their ownership hierarchy. That is when a paralegal uncovered an astonishing find, hidden within county land filings dating back years. A trust agreement, signed by Kody Brown himself, from 2018. It seemed normal at first glance, a family trust to protect assets. But the fine print had a much darker tale to tell. The document, the Brown Family Living Trust, contained a few names. At the top, the trustee Kody W. Brown, and below that, the beneficiaries Robyn Brown, and then no one else. No Janelle, no Christine, no Meri. Was the paper trail everyone had been looking for. Evidence that the whole dream of Coyote Pass from the very beginning had been rigged in Robyn's favor. The following morning, the court resumed. The judge's expression was impassive as he displayed the trust document. "Judge, Mr. Brown, this trust shows that it was created in 2018, 2 years prior to the Coyote Pass land being subdivided. Do you know what this is?" Kody gulped hard. "Yeah, that is mine, Judge. It only has you and Mrs. Brown listed as beneficiaries." "Was this prior to or following the purchase of the land?" Kody. "Prior. It was just a concept. Something my attorney said I should do, Judge." "Did you tell your other wives that they weren't included?" Kody bowed his head, remaining quiet. "Judge, Mr. Brown." He paused, then spoke softly. "Number I didn't tell them." Christine leaned forward, her voice shaking with rage. "So all those years, all those talks about equality, about family togetherness, it was a lie." Kody turned to her, defensive. "It wasn't a lie, it was preparation. I was trying to safeguard our assets from outsiders." Janelle rose from her seat, no longer able to remain silent. "We were the outsiders. Kody, you ensured that." The judge held up his hand. "Sufficient." The ensuing silence was savage. Even Robyn's tears could not temper what everybody now realized. Coyote Pass was not a dream family. It was an asset under control. A house constructed on deception. Judge. Mr. Brown, your intent in this case appears clear. Cut. The court will now address whether or not the representation of ownership to your family members is fraud under Arizona law. Robyn collapsed in tears. "Please, it wasn't supposed to be like this. We were trying to hold the land for all of us." But Christine gave her a look that could slice steel. "Then why wasn't my name on it?" Robyn remained silent. Outside the courthouse, another chaos broke out. Fans were labeling it the Brown Betrayal. All the networks led with the same headline: "Secret Trust Document Shows Kody and Robyn's Hidden Scheme." Inside, Janelle remained calm with her attorney. She was no longer angry, she was determined. "This isn't about money," she whispered. "It is about everything we thought we believed in." Christine nodded, and now everyone can see what it actually was. Later that night, in a private interview outside the courthouse, Christine uttered one sentence that shattered the internet. "Coyote Pass was never our dream. It was Kody's illusion." Those words trended for hours, but as Christine talked to the cameras, Kody and Robyn sat alone. In silence, in their SUV, headlights off. Robyn looked at him, her voice not much above a whisper. "You said they'd never discover it." Kody gazed straight ahead, eyes empty. "I didn't think they would." When the courtroom bombshell broke on social media, the internet went wild. But nobody was prepared for the next shock to come from within the show itself. Only 2 days after the trust document was made public, a one-time TLC production assistant, known only as Morgan, contacted a local reporter in Flagstaff. What Morgan possessed wasn't gossip. It was evidence. Morgan had been working on Sister Wives at the peak of the Coyote Pass saga, when the series was presenting the land as the family's new chapter. But the network, Morgan says, was privy to more than it ever revealed. The Browns continued to tell us they couldn't construct yet due to financial issues, Morgan explained to the reporter. But that wasn't the whole story. The show was compensating them, and the money was to be invested in the land. TLC even mandated that some of their per-episode pay go toward Coyote Pass development. It was part of the contract. That one sentence altered everything. Because if what Morgan had claimed was true, then the network's own money, not only the family's own cash, had been diverted into Robyn and Kody's personal residence. In 24 hours, the story was confirmed. Emails leaked between a TLC accountant and the Browns' family business confirmed a payment schedule dated Coyote Pass Development Fund, Brown Family. And listed right underneath, transfer recipient, RB Holdings, LLC, Robyn's company, the very same one revealed in court. The internet went crazy. Headlines across the board read, "TLC funds misused in Sister Wives scandal, Kody and Robyn under investigation." Production insider leaks Brown family contracts. The fake dream of Coyote Pass, built on television money and lies. The backlash was nuclear. Christine's attorney immediately asked to have the documents incorporated into the case. The judge granted them within hours. That next hearing would be televised. In court, Morgan testified via video call, face obscured, voice modified for safety reasons. But the words were unmistakable. "Morgan, I dealt with production invoices and expense reports for 2 summers. Coyote Pass was being reported as a development expense, not a personal one. It was meant to be the contribution of TLC to the family's joint venture project property. But by fall of 2019, the funds no longer went to land management. They went to RB Holdings instead." "Judge, were those transactions authorized by the network?" "Morgan, no, sir. Not officially. The network thought the money was still going toward land permits." The courtroom murmured, "Judge, so you're saying Mrs. Brown and Mr. Brown used production funds for their private home?" "Morgan, that's exactly what I'm saying." Kody's lawyer stood up instantly, trying to argue. "Your Honor, the contracts are complex. There's no proof of intent." But the judge cut him off. "There's proof of diversion. That's enough for now." Christine shut her eyes, muttering under her breath. Now everyone sees. Robyn was sobbing again, but not the composed, camera-safe tears of the show. These were out of control, real, scared. She clutched Kody's hand. "They're turning against us. You said this would be safe." Kody barked, his voice ringing. "Stop saying I said. You were the one managing the damn account." The judge pounded his gavel. "Enough. If this continues, I'll have you removed." Outside the courthouse, hundreds of fans congregated, waving handwritten signs that read, Justice for Christine. Where is Janelle's money? Robyn's mansion equals our land. The crowd was shouting as the Browns emerged under intense camera flashes. For years they had been a picture. Perfect plural family. Now they were a public scandal. That evening, a journalist published the last installment of Morgan's interview. And along with it came one final piece of truth. The portion TLC never wanted to see remain. TLC knew the family was breaking up, Morgan said. They constructed narratives around the cracks. They continued to film because the drama generated ratings. But they had no idea Kody was using the show as own funds to construct his future with Robyn, not the family's.